He talks a good game. He talks a good game. On the outside, he talks a good game.
Hello, welcome to On Me Ed's Son. Hope you're all well. Let me just make sure that everything is working here. Yes, it is. I believe it is. Welcome. This is basically a live show. Have your say. The chat is open. Have your say about West Ham going up to Burnley this coming weekend. Let's just quickly discuss some of the other games as well, because I think you'll agree it's a bit of a crunch weekend for lots of teams, right? Let's have a look here. Let me just bring up the table as well, and I'll share this with you as well. Here we go. We got tonight, of course, you got Leeds against Forest. Do you know what? If I had to, let us know your thoughts on this one. Let us know your thoughts. Let me just take that away so I can see it clearly. I'm not sure what I want to happen with this game. I'm not sure if I want Leeds to win or Forest to win, so it keeps one of them really close to us, or as close as possible, or I want them both to be close to us, so the only way for that to happen is for them to get a draw, like a 0-0 score draw. Leeds being at home, I'm going to favour Leeds being at home, so I kind of wonder then maybe that's the way, that's what's going to happen, so that keeps us Forest in touching distance. But you know what, tomorrow's games, interestingly enough, let me put the web out there for you. Man United, lunchtime kickoff against Spurs. Bournemouth at home to Villa. Villa losing last time out. Bournemouth getting the win, I think, last time out, didn't they? Arsenal at home to Sunderland. Interesting game for Arsenal fans, of course. Burnley, 3 o'clock kickoff home to West Ham. Obviously, we go up there. This is the must-win game for either team. The loss and a draw is just not good enough. It's almost like it's unacceptable. We cannot have a draw here. And then Fulham also at home to Everton. Wolves at home to Chelsea. Newcastle early evening kickoff at home to Brentford as games on Sunday. Brighton at home to Palace, and then Liverpool at home to Man City. That's obviously going to be the big game there. And then nothing on, championship games on Monday, but that's about it. If we look at the table, let me just quickly show you the table. Obviously, I'm going to go right to the bottom of the table because that's where I'm most interested at. We're 6 points behind Leeds and Forest here. We're on 20. So if we win, we beat Burnley. Obviously, that gives us more room between us and them. But if we beat Burnley and then Forest or Leeds lose, that puts us within 3 again. So, it's still not beyond the realms of possibility that we could get out of this. And I think, there's been lots of fans out there, clinging on to hope. Let's face it, that's the only thing we can do right now is cling on to hope. Cling on to something that will say, wow, we've got something here with the way we've been playing. Yes, okay, we got beat against Chelsea last time out, but the way we've been playing, there's an opportunity here for us to gain some points. The problem is Forest have picked up some form. 2 draws, 2 wins in the last 4 games. Leeds, have got 1 win, 1 draw, 2 losses in the last game. But Leeds have been relatively strong at home. So I'm still going for a Leeds home win there. But we need to win. We have to absolutely go up against Burnley and win. Now, obviously, we beat them 3-2 at the London Stadium, right? Yeah, it was a decent game. It was okay. It wasn't as good as the week before against Newcastle. But that was also the weekend prior to the game. We had the big protest march. So there was a lot of people who went there. It was a weird feeling. It was a good feeling about unity in the fan base on that march. And if you're on that march, it was just a great, whether you agree with the protests or not, in terms of the feeling it gave the fans who were on it, and I was on it, it seemed to carry that through into the stadium, and there was a good vibe around the stadium as well. And whilst it wasn't as convincing a win as it was against Newcastle, it was still a good win. And so this is kind of what we need to take up to Burnley. Yeah, we fell short against Chelsea, but there's also that thing that, you know what, we could have beaten them if it wasn't for tactical changes, if it wasn't letting off the gas in the second half, if it wasn't allowing them to play with the quality that they've got. You know, we could have held on there, or we should have held on maybe. Going in 2-0 at half time is a great position to be in, and I think we should have done better there. But, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. We didn't, and that's a problem that we're in. You know, we find ourselves in this crappy position in the bottom three, almost within touching distance. And so many times we could have got out of this if we'd played a different way, if we had different tactics, if we held on, if we hadn't gone so defensive in games. That's the problem. You get to situations where you're just throwing away game, or you're throwing away points, as you say. And if you think back of all the games that we've had this season, all the points that we've lost, all the points that we've dropped, all the points that we've let slip through our fingers, and those are the points, those are the ones that are the most crucial ones, because those are the ones when it tots up at the end of the season, those are the points that you actually rely upon. Those are the points that are actually going to get you, or it's going to be the difference between, in our case now, relegation or survival. And it's going to be the same for Forest, it's going to be the same for Leeds, and it's, you know, potentially the same for Palace and Spurs, and, you know, in terms of, depends how they do in the next few games. But obviously West Ham are right in it. All the advantages is for Leeds and for Forest right now. I'm going to put up the chat as well. Oops. What have I done? There we go. Afternoon. Hello, mate. How are you? You're right. Good. Thanks for joining. So as soon as I see the chat, I'll try and put them up there for you as well. But this is an interesting one. This is kind of what I was basically saying here. Afternoon, all. 18 points lost from leading, let alone the poor team lineups. Yeah, it's been a catalogue of errors, hasn't it? And if you think of all those points that we've lost over those games, we wouldn't be in this position. In fact, you know, if we look at 38 points, what is that now? Let's just say 38 points. Yeah, we'd be in 7th place right now, you know, fighting for Europe. So, you know, that just goes to show, okay, you know, we would be in and around those, you know, top half of the table, 10th position and above. We'd be, you know, in and around it. But obviously, you know, we've completely let ourselves down. Or the manager, the players, the performances have let ourselves down. So we find ourselves in a position now where we have to go up to Burnley against Scotty Parker. Right? I've got a lot of time for Scotty Parker. I always have done. What he did for us. And in that season as well, fantastic player, fantastic leader, general. That's what we needed. That's what we want. And you wish, you know, at times, you know, God, why can't we have somebody like that now, you know? But there we go. Listen, I think that Burnley, they've had 3 draws in the last 4 games, and they lost their last game. They've lost 3 out of their last 6 games as well. I'm just looking at the table here. They are in desperate need. What I see in Burnley is that they don't lack the trying, they lack the quality. They lack the Premier League quality and Premier League composure, and that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is that they just don't have it in them, right? But I just don't. I think different people have different opinions of Scotty Parker in terms of quality of a manager. I rate him as a manager. I really do. You can't argue what he did with Fulham. You can't argue what he's done with Burnley and other teams that he's had success with in terms of bringing them up as well. Okay, granted, it's not always a manager's fault that you bring up a team to the Premier League and they just can't compete in terms of players, in terms of quality. That's also a club issue, right? So, you know, it's the same with us. You know, it's almost like we're lumping all the blame on Nuno. We say, well, hold on a minute. We're in this position because of the ownership and the poor ownership that has given us a poor squad and poor managers, selection of poor managers with varying tactics, that puts us in a position like this. So I do rate Scotty Parker as a manager, I really do. And I think what he's had to deal with, or what he does with Burnley, it's a tough job. It's a real tough job for them. And they're a small club, but you can't, the buying power of players in, or teams like Burnley is going to, so they're always scraping around to say, well, who are the best players that we can get for what we can afford, right? So it's no surprise that Burnley there. I'm a little surprised that Wolves are there, but I'm no surprise that Burnley are there this season. But, we've always say teams coming up are always going to struggle. Look, and Burnley and Leeds, it's no surprise that they're there as well. I mean, the only anomaly here, of course, is Sunderland. Sunderland have had a great time this season, come up, first season out, but it's happened to other teams in the past. And they're riding high in 8th position, but they're a much bigger club and much more better buying power, of course. But look, I can talk about the other teams, of course. I can talk about that. But really, it's the game in front of us. That's the game that Nuno has to go take the players up there. And we have to play on the front foot. We have to come away with a win. Now, I said it after the last game in terms of, if you watch my videos from years and years ago when I was on other channels as well, I'd always talk about the performance. Performance is really well. How you gauge a team is how they're playing, right? But ultimately, that performance has got to deliver results. You get to the situation that we're in, right? That we've had poor performances for them, and poor decisions made by the manager and successive managers, but certainly this season under Potter, now obviously under Nuno, that you have poor tactics and poor performances, and a bit of disharmony within the club in terms of the likes of Paqueta and issues that were surrounding him, all the way he was treated, and other players that have been allowed to leave or forced to leave, and the kind of players that we've got in. It's unsettled West Ham. It's created a lot of disharmony. So I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but you wonder, with all this in mind, can Nuno take this team to Burnley and play on the front foot and take it to and have that mindset to say, we cannot lose, we must not lose? And I just wonder if he's possible, if the players can do it. Now, in the last few games, definitely the performances have been there. And this is what I'm saying. Sorry, I'll get back to, I remember what I was trying to say. Performances matter, but results matter more, especially when the situation that we're in, because the performances have let us down for most of the season. That's why we're in the position that we're in. So if Nuno goes up there, right now, it's about the result. Right now, it's about the 3 points. I want to be entertained. I want us to play good football. I want us to go up there and go up against a steely Burnley side under Scotty Parker's direction. But I want us to go there and give them a bloody nose. I want us to go there and smash them 4 or 5-0. I want us to go there and entertain. But I tell you what, if we go up there and scrape a 1-0 win, I will not be complaining, right? I'll not be complaining, because right now it's all about the points. It's all about the points. So either way, I'm not sure if Nuno has it in his mind to be able to eke out that win. Go away to Burnley, who are going to be able to put up a tough test. On the thumbnail, so Burnley would be a threat, or Burnley are a threat. And I think they are. I think they are a threat, because they're fighting for themselves. It's like trying to fight a wounded animal or trying to tame a wounded animal. Watch yourself, because you know what? They can bite. They will bite. Just like if you're a dog owner, right? Or it doesn't matter, right? If your dog is in pain, you got to be careful, because a dog can lash out at you, even as the owner can lash out if they're under severe pain if you touch them in the wrong place. So you got to be very careful, right? And you always got to have that in the back of your mind. A responsible owner will always know this, right? Always know this. Oh, my dog will never bite me. Well, you've always got to be mindful that potentially they could if they're wounded enough. Burnley are a wounded animal. We're wounded, but I'm not sure I still believe that within the West Ham fan base, but also especially amongst the players, but also Nuno, I'm not sure if they realise how wounded we are. I'm not sure if they got this idea. No, nothing else matters now. We have to win. Because if that's the case, I just question then, well, if you believe that Nuno believes that, we're okay, also that we are a wounded animal, that we have to go out for the win, then you got to question, well, why would he make the tactical changes that he did in the Chelsea game, let alone all those other games in the past? So, let's have a look at some of these comments. Sorry, I missed a lot of them here. If we only had, if only held onto half of them points, we would be safe. Absolutely, 100%. If we managed to keep those points, what players could have attracted in the window? Again, one leads to the other, right? If we're a team doing well, fighting for Europe, players. Well, first of all, you probably wouldn't be desperate to reinforce the team if the team's doing well, of course, right? So you got to factor in for that. But yeah, if you did want to reinforce, if you wanted to let some deadwood go, or players that just not featuring, not performing, you want to reinforce it, yeah, you're going to attract better players, no doubt. If we kept them points, Drainhill, we wouldn't have bought anyone yet. So they never buy us if we are safe. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I've just said. There we go. The way we played against Chelsea first half was a bit of a shock, but just goes to show how we can play. 100%. We can do, especially now we change your setup, right? Change your setup. If you got the problem is now Tadebo's gone, right? He's missing for 3 games. His head gone. And regardless of what you think, he got himself in a situation that's now definitely affected the team, right? I don't mind a bit of argy-bargy. I don't mind getting your foot in and whatever, but you've got to have a presence of mind to say, if I grab this guy around the throat, it's going to be deemed as violent conduct. Therefore, but pushing and shoving, you can still prove it, have the same point, right? But anyway, so Tadebo's gone. But look, he went from a 4-4-2 effectively. It doesn't matter what you believe the two up front are actually doing. For me, they occupy a space. The quality isn't there and all that sort of stuff, right? But the change, it's enabled. It's more than the two up front, Tati and Pablo. Actually, what it's done, it's enabled the 4 across midfield to perform a lot better. So I think, and this is what I question Nuno, if you're going to shore up, you're going to go for more of a defensive setup when we're winning 2-0 or we're winning 1-0. Let's say if we're beating Burnley 1-0 in the 60th minute. The worst thing you can do is take off a striker or an attacking player and put on, a defender, put on a Kilman, Kilman's going to be playing anyway, right? But, you wonder, okay, would Kilman be playing? Would Diaz be playing? That kind of thing. It'd be an interesting game to see who actually features in the starting lineup. But if Diaz doesn't start, then you would imagine that when it comes to 60 minutes, and let's say even if we're in a winning position, and, dare I say, even if we're drawing, right, that Nuno's going to change it up and bring on the extra defender. And I think that's the worst thing you should do. Actually, what you need to do is bolster up in midfield to stop the ball, stop the opposition to come onto us and put pressure on our defence. We want to keep the battle out there. We want to keep it in midfield. So it gives us the opportunity, if we are going to get the ball, regain possession, we're further up the pitch so that we can impact the game with the Bowens and the Somervilles to go forward, even the Fernandes to go forward and impact the game. But I just wonder whether we're actually gonna, be able to do that. That's the thing. Again, the way we played against Chelsea, as you so rightly said, Dreadhole Hammers, that's it. We can play well. We can play well, but a lot of that I think is down to the setup and. The players that we've got in that setup, in that formation, has just allowed them to shine a little bit more. It's kind of no surprise. I've been saying this for weeks and weeks, months, years, whatever. So many teams have tried to play this clever football, this slow build-up football under Pep. Arsenal, been doing it for years. Tiki-taki football under Wenger, all that sort of stuff. The European style of football. And the quality of, well, maybe not so much the quality, but the entertainment value, the speed of the game in the Premier League is definitely slowed down. And I've always said this. I've said it repeatedly, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, that you can counteract that style of football that has been so successful if you don't play it. If you try and match a Man City or an Arsenal with their own game, right? They're going to beat you because they're quality. They've got better quality, better players, better system, better managers, all around. They're going to beat you. They're going to win. 9 times out of 10, they're going to win. But if you match them with a different tactic, with a different game, and I've always said, why not go back to 4-4-2? Why not mix it up with sometimes a long ball, sometimes a short ball, sometimes playing it on the wing, sometimes playing it through the middle, instead of always going for this slow build-up, trying to build up from the back. It doesn't have to be that way. And I've given examples over the years where we've played teams and we've had moments in games when we've tried to do that and we've had success. So why not continue it? You're going from a successful position, a winning position, or a favourable position. You make a tactical change to make us more defensive. And it just brings pressure onto us. And then we yield to that pressure. More often than not, we concede goals. So the problem here is that you got to take the likes of Nuno, and which I'm not his biggest fan, I got to say, and I'm trying, I don't hide from that because of the problems that he gives us, right? And you make these tactical changes that bring the opposition onto us. So in my mind, I don't believe that Nuno thinks that we're at desperation stakes. I think he believes that we can get out of this. It doesn't give me any confidence in him. Because even where we've been playing, second half, after 60 minutes, he makes changes. Whether we're in the lead and we succeed in winning, or whether we lose the game, it's kind of it brings negativity onto our performance, and then obviously ultimately our result, more often than not. There we go. I think the last few years, even under Moyes, we have shown we are better going forward. Why we keep going for safe managers is beyond me. 100%. Don't understand it. Keep the ball as far from our box as we can. Keep the pressure off. You would imagine, right? That this is some kind of dark arts, right? You would imagine that this is some kind of mystery, footballing mystery, that nobody is allowed to know. Right, nobody's allowed to know this stuff. Only those privileged few in the, in the corridors of power within any club, within any, management, the old management association, managers association. Only those are allowed. But football isn't like that. Football, as we know, is a very, very simple game. In essence, it's a very simple game, and this tinkering that they do, this massaging, the tactical changes that they do, they make it so much more complicated than it ever needs to be. And all you need to do is just see what another team is playing and find a solution to counteract that. And if you keep on playing the same way, you've got to make sure that you've got the best quality players that you can possibly find that are going to be able to execute that plan the best. Most teams don't have that. They don't have that ability. West Ham are a case in point. Forest are a case in point. Leeds, most teams, all the way through the table, even the top teams at the top of the table, I should say, they don't always do it. They can't always be consistent at it. We're seeing holes in Man City. We've definitely seen holes in Liverpool. We've definitely seen holes in Man United, right? Sometimes, we've seen a hole in Arsenal. So it happens. But if you consistently try and play the same way, then you will be found out. Now, to my surprise, why it's taken so long for the rest of the teams in the Premier League to find out the way Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool have been playing, and they couldn't come up with a better solution. But it's also no surprise, actually, over the last few years that all the teams in the league, the quality is a lot better. And usually it's those bottom three are there for a reason, because they're that much worse than the rest of the teams. And we've been living off this for the last few years, haven't we? That there's always three worst teams at West Ham. And that the last sort of third of the season, we've been able to pick up enough points to take us off bottom three or just above bottom three and propel us up to 14th, 10th, sometimes 9th, right? But most of those seasons, most of them, barring a couple of seasons, most of those seasons, we were always bottom half of the table, struggling to free ourselves to get back out of it. It was only those couple of seasons, 2 or 3 seasons, where we ended up 6th and 7th, and we were flirting with Champions League top 4 places for 2/3 of the season, and it was always the last third of the season that we fell away. So we historically we do have that ability to get out of it. I'm not sure this season we have that ability to get out of it. I'm not sure, because the other teams are above us. They are as good as us, if not better at times. I'm not sure that we have the manager who is going to be positive enough for 90 minutes. And that's why other fans are taking the piss out of us all week after the Chelsea game, because saying, look, a game's not 45 minutes, it's 90 minutes. Well, yeah, somebody tell Nuno that. If we play on the front foot against Burnley, if we take the game to them, we don't set up defensively, I'm convinced that we put them under pressure and they will fold. I think the quality that we've got is better than theirs. But the quality is also got to be matched by a performance. It's got to be matched by also being, tough at the back as well. Areola, again, still does fantastic stuff for me. Really good. Really good. Every keeper makes mistakes from time to time. Every keeper will do something, you raise your eyebrows, right? But other times they do some great stuff. And Areola's saved our asses so many times this season. So fantastic stuff from him. At the back, Wan-Bissaka, Juve, I would imagine they'd be starting. But, you can put Kyle Walker-Peters there and Scholes there as well as able deputants. Mavropanos, yeah, good. Really good. Now Tadebo's gone. The key thing here is what's going to happen now in defence. How are they going to play with each other? Let us know. Do you want Kilman to start? Do you want him to start? I do not want him to start. Do not want that man to start. Of course, if you put us in a fantastic performance, we're all going to say, oh, yeah, it's great. But, in terms of looking the way he's played all season, barring a couple of performances, which were pretty good, I just don't even want to think about it. Midfield, Bowen on the right, Somerville on the left. Both players have started to perform really well the last few games, the last 3 or 4 games. Great stuff. Then you've got options midfield now, in central pairing, right? Fernandes, I think, is a shoo-in to be there all the time. Fantastic player. Last time out, it was still really good, but he wasn't as good as, let's say, the previous games. But fantastic. Then you got the likes of, you can put Souček, you could Potts, Magassa there as well. There's options there. I think I said this in a previous show. That midfield, I think we're good. We're good. We've got options there as well. And then up front, we've got. I just don't think that we should be starting this game with Tati and Pablo together. I think we should be starting either Tati or Pablo, but I think Wilson should be in there. That's where I think. I think Wilson should be in there. And then take Wilson off after 50, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, whatever it is, and bring on Pablo. So you're staying with that attacking intent, occupying their final third, occupying their half, putting the pressure on them. That's what I feel. That's what I feel we should be doing. You know, I mean, what can I say? I mean, I just don't think Burnley have enough in them to worry us on our best day, especially over the last performances, the last few games, last performances. I just don't think they have us. However, they are a threat. 100% they are a threat, under Scotty Parker as well, because he's going to set them up to be defensive. He's going to be setting them up, but he's also going to be setting them up to try and nick a goal, try and put pressure on us. So if we're not at it, if we're not putting it at them, putting them under pressure, if we ease off on that pressure and invite them on, he's going to take full advantage of it. Make no mistake about it. You know, up there, in their environment, in their, you know, with their fan base as well, they're going to want it. They're desperate. They're more desperate than we are. They've probably resigned themselves to the fact that they're definitely going down. But they're desperate to not go out in a whimper. So this could be a tough game for us. 100%. Let's have a look. There we go. Here we go. What's this one? Drainhole Hammers. Teamers are so used to this tippy-tappy slow build-up that when teams do break quickly and get in behind, it almost surprises teams. 100%. I've been saying that for ages. A long, long time. If you turn defenders, no defender likes to be turned. It doesn't matter how good they are. So if you if you run at them or run past defenders or have balls going over the top, I'm not saying all the time. I'm not saying long ball is the way to go. I'm not saying that at all. But a variation, you know. I hope that the teams around us start picking up injuries and suspensions. We need to take every chance we create now. 100%. Well, we do. I said this in a previous video show, live show, whatever it is. No matter how well we do, no matter what performances we get, but as I've already said, results are the most important thing, right? No matter what we do, we are reliant on the teams above us to get injuries, get suspensions, have poor performances and losses. They've got to lose points, but we've got to gain points. If we win and they keep on winning, as has happened the last 2 or 3 games with Leeds and Forest picking up points. I know they lost and drew the last game, but so if that keeps that buffer there for them, 6-point buffer right now. But if they start losing and we start gaining, then that gets us closer. So if they lose 2 games, or if they lose, let's say Forest lose their next 2 games, and we win our next 2 games. Okay, we got Burnley, but then we got Man United in the week at London Stadium. I will be there. Come and say hello if you see me. Then we're right at them. Then we're right with them, right? I mean, it depends on goal difference as well. We're minus 19, are we? They're minus 11. Okay, so it would have to be a substantial thing. So I think I said this a few weeks ago. It's going to have to be 3 games. They're going to have to lose 3 games. We're going to have to win 3 games on the trot to get us out of this. And the nearer we get to the end of the season, the less time we've got to be able to do it. So it's not mathematically impossible. Of course it isn't. But it's going to get to a point where it's almost mathematically impossible. So this game is so crucial for us. Burnley are a threat. I think they are a threat. But we've got to be going there with the intention to win. If we go with the intention just to get a point or settle for a point, guess what? I'm going to be hopping mad at Nuno. If we're going up there to settle for a point, because a point's not good enough. A win is the only thing we can do. In the fighting game community, we used to say a good move beats a bad move. A great move beats a good move, but a bad move can beat a great move because you don't expect a bad move. 4-4-2 can work. I agree. I've said that, yeah. 100%. I love boxing. You watch my channel. I love boxing. Love fight sports as well. And I often make sort of references, to fight sports when we talk about football and vice versa, right? The analogies are there. You can catch somebody unawares. There's great fighters of the past. It's like, look, if you're no matter how good you are, right? No matter how good you are at anything, right? Something can catch you unawares. Let's say in a fight, in a boxing sense, if something can happen where you're just not, you don't see it, or a fighter does something unexpected, and it catches you, and in the worst case scenario, it can knock you out, right? It's exactly the same here. You can do something against a better team, counteract what they're doing, and the best managers do that. The best managers look at the opposition, look at what they're doing, set up in a certain way, change it in a game, change it to counteract whatever they're doing, and to try and get the win. Right? Because at the end of the day, that's what football is about, right? It's not about going for the draw. It's not about just trying to play a slow style of football. No, it is about beating the opposition. It is about getting that ball in the net. So many times managers and players and footballing cultures and whatever, they view it in a different way. And so, well, no, the actual idea of the game is to get that round thing between those posts, underneath that crossbar. That's the whole point of it. Yeah. Here we go. Meltzer, hello there. How are you? I had Nuno said yesterday that Tati and Pablo can't keep up the pace of 90 minutes. Then why didn't we play Tatis and why don't we buy 2 Tatis and 2 Pablos so we can do it for 90 minutes? Yeah, well, that's what we needed to do. Well, this is my point. If you're saying they can't play for 90 minutes, then this comes down to poor acquisition again. Right, poor player recruitment, 100%. This is a club thing. We are a shambles of a club. We all know it, right? The way we run, and this is why there's so much dissension in the ranks, and we know that, right? So, but at the end of the day, Nuno, you kind of rubber stamp these players, and you're playing them. So come up with different solutions then. Change their training regimes that makes them, fitter for 90 minutes. All that kind of stuff. See what you can do. Why are we not starting Wilson? Why aren't you changing it up during the game a little bit more? Why don't you bring them off a little bit earlier? Whatever it is. I don't know what the actual solution is, but if they can't keep it up for 90 minutes, then, well, do something about it then. Do something more. You see, winning a couple of games lifts confidence in a team, 100%. We need to go all out in these games now. Points is no good. We need to go 3 per game, and the whole world can see. And go 3 per game. The whole world can see we can't defend a lead. Yeah, 100%. That's right. We can't defend a lead. We're terrible at it. And this is the reason why we're in, position we're in. If we go down, if we go 1-0 down, 2-0 down, it's very hard for us to come back. If we go 1-0 up, 2-0 up, it's very easy for oppositions to come back at us. So we can show fight, we can show willing, we can show something, but at the same time, we haven't been consistent enough the whole season. The reason why we're in this position is our own fault. Well, it's the players' fault, it's the manager's fault but collectively, it's our own fault. We've put ourselves in this position, or the players have done, and the manager. But the club have put us in this position. We, the fans, haven't put us in a position. We're just trying to do the best we can in terms of support. It's been, but now there's a bit of a rally. Now there's a bit of a turn in terms of performances. Okay, let's see what we can do. Burnley is going to be a tough game. I'm convinced of it. It's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be quite a close game. I'm hoping not. I hope we stuff them 4 or 5-0. I just fear that we're going to see crappy tactics from Nuno. I think we're going to see frustration from a lot of the players. I think we're going to see an unsettled defence that are not that don't really know how to play with each other. I think that we're going to see an unsettling of Areola as well, because he's wondering what the hell's going on in front of him. You know, I think we're going to see a bit more weak leadership from Bowen, if things are not going well. It's, again, you could look at this in a very negative way and say, oh well, yeah, it could easily flip to that, or say we could go up there and we could do a number on them. We have to set up to win games and not set up just to lose them. 100%. 100%. We do that. We have to. But this is what frustrates me so much about, clubs and teams and or managers, and say, well, I'm not sure if you've got the memo. I'm not sure if you've read the memo. I'm not sure if you've read the purpose of what it is. I'm not sure if you've read what it means to be a football fan. Nuno came in at the start of the season and said, yeah, we have to give something to the fans. We have to give them something to cheer about. Well, you've taken your fucking time then, haven't you? You've taken your time to do it, but you're still not fully understanding that actually this has to happen through the whole game, 90 minutes. You can't forgive Nuno for, in the Bournemouth game, taking off Wilson, 2-0 up, and then we come back to 2-2. You can't forgive him really for the Chelsea game. Look, I always say those defensive tactics should really be in the last 10 minutes of the game, last 5 minutes of the game, really. Those are the ones where you shore up a game and you see it out. I get that. But not before then, because you're opening yourself up to too much pressure. You can hold on for a bit of pressure for a short time, a limited period. But anything more than that, no, it's just not good enough. It's just too risky. We haven't got the players to play that risky game. We haven't got the quality. As simple as that. But we're in this weird situation now that we've been playing so bad that we can't attract the big players or the better players that are going to want to fight with us. Who wants to come to a team in a relegation fight? Not many. We're looking at really staring down the barrel of a gun of going down, which is most likely. They're going to pull the trigger any minute. So we got to find a way. This is desperation now. This is, it is what it is. Meltzer, have the FA extended the FA ban? Well, I tell you what, they would only ever extend it, wouldn't they, if there was an appeal. If the appeal's gone in, then if they're found to be still at fault, then they extend it, don't they? Which I always thought was a bit of a strange rule, but there we go. I'm just having a quick look here. I can't see anything. Let me just do Todibo FA ban. FA ban. Right. Let's have a look. 3-match ban. No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think it's still. I think so. I think it's still the same. I mean, I could be wrong. Oh, yeah, 10 minutes ago. Here we go. Todibo has been fined. The body imposed a ban into the confines of the stadium and a fine. Let's have a look. This is something. Okay, something else is going on. I think he might be fined an extra thing. So I'm not sure. He might have got some extra fines or something like that, but I'm not sure. So anyway, listen. Let me just read on here. There we go. Oops, wrong one. I think when Pablo has come off after running 30 minutes a match, closing down the ball, stick Souček up there to do. He loves to run. Maybe get Kante on chasing them down. Make them make mistakes. Well, yeah. I mean, look, there are always options to, instead of Tati and Pablo up there, to put somebody else up there for the last 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is. Wilson should be on there earlier. Definitely, but if you're going to take them out, then you need to put somebody in that presence. What's been happening, you've been taking off those players, but putting players in defensive positions and not holding the fort up there, as it were. No, Tadibo released a statement, so don't think so. Yeah, okay. I think you might have got an extra fine or extra bit of something else was extra. I'm reading here, I can't really see anything. Listen, it's an interesting game tonight. Leeds against Forest. I still don't know, what I want that result to be. I can see it being a win for Leeds, but I can see. I just don't know which is the best for us: a 1-1 draw, or a 0-0 draw, or a Leeds win, or a Forest win. I just don't, because I look at it either way. I think we need one of the teams to pull away, so that it gives us that sense that if we beat Burnley, which we've got to beat Burnley, we can get within 3 points. And I think that's going to give us a bit more of a good feeling and motivation to say, look, we're nearly there, right? So, yeah, if Leeds beat Forest, sorry, Forest fans, but that's just the way it is. It's no honour amongst thieves, as it were. We got to steal a place. We got to steal a win from somewhere. We got to steal a survival. That's just the way it is, right? So we've got to hope that that you lose. Well, either way, you or Leeds, right? Somebody loses, and then we can get closer on Saturday. But there we are. That's it. Listen, all I can say is keep the faith, right? I'm not sure. I'm confident. I'm confident that we're going to get the win tomorrow. I think, in our best performance, I think we'll run away with it. Our worst performance, I think, we could. Our worst performance, but we might still scrape a result. But ultimately, our most terrible performance is that we get a draw, or worse still, we get a loss, right? That would be the worst, obviously, for us. But I'm confident that we can go there and get a win. I really am. I think we can do it. I think we can go there and get a win. The question is, will it be enough at the end of the day? Then we got Man United. That'll be a tough game. That'll be a tough game to get a win, especially on the little run that they're on now. Their little resurgence they're on with Carrick as well. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, but interesting. The next two games we're playing managers who are West Ham old boys, isn't it? It's very, very interesting there. Yeah, where are their loyalties? Where are their loyalties are not with West Ham, that's for sure. But listen, it's thanks for joining here today. Thanks for joining the chat. Thanks for your support. Thanks for keep on watching. Really appreciate it. Can West Ham do it? There's lots to talk about in terms of West Ham. There's lots to talk about in terms of our performances, our manager, our ownership, the transfers that we've got in. Are we going to, the way we play, how we set up against other teams and all this sort of stuff. But I say all that is kind of secondary to the primary target now, which is 3 points, the win. That's it. That's all we can, look at. It's the same when we're playing Man United in the week, right? It's the win. That's all we can go for. We've got to go for the win. If we don't go for the win, or we don't have the win, it just gets worse and worse for us. The situation just gets worse and worse for us. And I said to you, the only way that we've got a chance of this, it's not by our own making. The only way we've got a chance now, because we've got ourselves in this terrible position, is 3 other teams above us to have terrible ends to the season. If they have a terrible end to the season, and then we pick up enough points just to get close to them, and it could come down to the last game of the season. I remember, was it many years ago? Was it West Brom, or was it Middlesbrough? Could have been both. I think it was West Brom. But right at the last game of the season, the last kick of the game, and I think Brian Robson was the manager. I can't remember if they got a draw or if they got a win, and the team above them, they were in the relegation spot, and they got the team above them lost right in the last second. And right in the last seconds of the game, they just switched positions. So West Brom survived, right? Now, the following season, they got relegated. I'm pretty sure they got relegated. But we're in that position. I would not be surprised that we have one of those moments. But however, if we survive, big if, right? If we survive, even if it comes down to the last second of the last game of the season, and we manage to flip it around and we survive, that has got to be the biggest wake-up call for us as a club in terms of structure, in terms of leadership, in terms of scouting, in terms of manager, tactics, everything that you want to think of. Because if we don't change, then the following season, it's most likely that we definitely will get relegated. And we won't be in a relegation fight, let's say in the situation we're in now, we'll be in a Wolves position, right at the foot of the table, where we won't be able to buy a win for love nor money. That's the problem. But listen, positive vibes, right? Positive vibes. Let's get out there. Let's do the stuff. But we just got to win, right? We just got to win. That says it all, right? That says it all. Come on, you Irons. Let's have it. Let's have it. That's all we got. That's all I want to see, right? That's all I want to see. That's all I want to hear. West Ham getting the 3 points. Up the hammers. And I'll catch you again on another video coming very, very soon. Live show, whatever it is. I don't know. I will be doing another live show after this, but it's going to be talking about boxing, talk sport, Simon Jordan. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea, and then I'll come back and think about it. But I might leave it for later on. But if you like what I do, keep on watching. And, well, let's hope. Fingers crossed. We need it.